Analysts say investors continue to take profit-taking on bellwether stocks following the recent run-up in share prices. Meanwhile, cautious trading remains the ruling market sentiment as investors await the decision of the CBN's Monetary Policy Committee tomorrow. James Mobolaji, Treasury and Investment Manager at Anchoria Asset Management, joins me now for more market updates. James, it's a pleasure to have you on the show today.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You listen to my conversation with Tajuddin. What comes to mind for you? We're seeing cautious trading. Equity investors are waiting to see what the stance would be tomorrow, to hike or not to hike. But I think we get a general feeling of where the CBN is in terms of rates. So what does that leave stock investors?
I think that we've seen a lot of activities. I mean, in the market, big enough this year already. So year to date, we've seen about 39% increment in the all-share index. So, and you would understand the fact that there are a lot of too many activities happening in the fixed income hand, and when this is happening, you expect the reverse to be happening in the stock market. However, we are seeing new monies coming into the market because it looks like the method now, the methodology of the CBN is kind of working. I mean, investors still remains, calm about the effect of this, and looking at the fact that we still expect them to be hawkish. Maybe not as big as they did last time, 400 basis points, which is a lot.
But do you think that the investors that are at the stock market now are those who are holding a long-term view, who are not swayed by the cyclical, having an MPC that's not currently hawkish? I mean, for the medium term, because that's just to bring down inflation to a certain level.
So I think that's the best strategy for now, because looking at it from you were asking Tajuddin about the fiscal side of things, and you'll understand that the current government has dollar plans to even invest more into infrastructures. So you see people like Boa Cement opening new plants. So I think on the long run, we expect these prices to actually be more elevated than where they are currently on the long term. However, when you look at the short term, for example, banking stocks, you expect that investors are waiting for the earnings report by the end of this week. So, and you see a lot of profit taking from last week. You even see that the banking stocks even gain about 4%. So I think that for the long-term play, definitely you have to hold tight and look at the way things.
So, but in terms of positioning, and I suppose that there will be cherry picking. We've seen that since the beginning of the year. The industrials, Boa Cement and Gote Cement, they've been the frontliners, and they're also the blue chips anyways. But will that continue in terms of how some of these stocks may benefit from the budget, for instance, construction, cement?
So I think that would continue. However, care must be taken in terms of how you pick these stocks. Look at what's happening, and you have to be very, very careful. Because, for example, what's their name now? Transpower is coming to the market. You see, almost a replica of what happened last year when Geregu came to the market. Geregu already this year have done almost 150%. So in terms of for this long-term play, you still have to, for the industrials, so you still have to cherry pick and very, very careful with the information that's available. Now,
for the banks, there is a recapitalization coming up. The federal government has given the banks the marching order. Look, we're trying to build a $1 trillion economy. You need to recapitalize. We need to, you need to be ready for this big economy that's coming. I've seen in the news, some are saying X number of banks will or may not be able to raise this money, etc. But what do you foresee going ahead? M&As, acquisitions?
Yeah. Okay, so I think it's left to see what each banks are going to come up with. I definitely believe that we have come into an area whereby we have artificially defensive stocks. That is the banking sectors, whereby banks cannot just fail. Do you understand? So, and I think majority of these banks are going to look for those opportunities to M&A, to ensure that they have partnered with a bank that looks, in their strategy-wise, they look like what they want to see, and also be able to see that they also get their capitalization ready. And in terms of what that generally speaks to for the market, you definitely know that having an economic base that is going to $1 trillion from about $380 billion that we do annually. So definitely means a new baseline is being set for the economy. For the banking stocks, which is why I was speaking to the long-term play now, for the banking stocks, you definitely believe that these current levels may still be elevated before the end of the year. So, and that already would also transfer into what happens into other sectors. So definitely, there will be a rebase in terms of the value that we could actually drive into the stock market, definitely.
Well, speaking about other sectors, oil and gas comes to mind for me. After the PIA, we've seen a bit of investments coming into the sector. We've seen the oil and gas rally or not rally. Well, how do investors feel towards those stocks?
Okay, so I think already we have seen a lot happening, not only because of the PIGB alone, because we've seen oil price elevated at these levels that they were for a couple of years now. And already, I think that there will still be a lot of more investments that will come into the space. However, I mean, investors, I think, are very careful now about this, because a lot of conversation now from the federal government is talking about diversification. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we need to see that we are getting more investment from the federal government, and also see the flow that is coming from offshore as well into those sectors.
For those investors who are just looking at the market action, yes, we're seeing a lot more interest in fixed income for obvious reasons. Are there some stocks right now that probably come to mind for you with good re-entry points for investors? Maybe penny stocks that have done well. I will mention this again. I've been looking at Julie. Julie, that stock has just come from nowhere and has been rallying. Are there other outliers like that at the market?
So I think yes, they are, but you know, it's very, very difficult to pick, because if you had told you Julie is going to do what they have done so far, you would argue. So, and I think that even last week we saw that happening in the majority of the insurance stocks. So when banking stocks, I mean, they're still in financial service, when banking stocks are doing like 4% on a general, on aggregate level, you see the insurance stocks, which are most of them are penny. I mean, in terms of the pricing. So you say that they've done like 8% already. So I think that care has to be taken. I mean, for the risk takers, you also know that you can also pick up some of these stocks and expect some good investment.
But they can't get guidance from the fundamentals of the stock, looking at what the company is doing, what the company is investing in, their financials, maybe in the last 2 years or even in the last couple of quarters, etc. That can be a good guide.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Because also looking at the management as well, you have to look at the management, look at the strategies they've put in place already. Are these firms ready to pounce on the current market? What's it called? Macroeconomic situation, which is what you have to look at when you're looking at those stocks.
Right.
Don't look at what they have done alone in terms of financials from the past years, but you have to look at the strategy. You have to look at the management also to drive authenticity.
All right, James, I must thank you for your time today. We're watching to see what the outcome will be tomorrow, and of course how the markets will react. Thank you for your time today, James Mobolaji, Treasury and Investment Manager at Anchoria Asset Management.